Hey, how's it going YouTube? This is your boy Chosen and welcome back to another discussion video. Today we are back discussing the Boruto manga, and the main reason for this is because, as some of you know, we're about a week away from Boruto Chapter 53. Therefore, this will be the time of the month where I'll try to push manga content out until the chapter releases. Okay, so as you guys saw by the title, today we are going to be discussing why I think Boruto Chapter 53 will be the start of the game changer for the Boruto manga. In chapter 52, we saw Naruto's new form called the Baryon mode, and of course it's pretty badass as we see Naruto just completely mess up Isshiki, basically the whole chapter. In the middle of the chapter, however, we get a small foreshadowing moment of what's to come at the end of the chapter. Amado mentions the chakra arm that Naruto gave to Kawaki, and it is mentioned that it's linked with Naruto in order for the hand to function at all times. Now, literally near the end of the chapter, as it seems like Ishiki's about to lose this battle, he seemingly recognizes Kawaki's chakra through Naruto, since again, like it was mentioned, they are linked together by the ninja tool arm. Isshiki then pulls Kawaki into the same dimension that they are in, and the final panel we see in this chapter is Boruto waking up. The twist is that it is not actually Boruto, it's Momoshiki. The same look he gives when he wakes is pretty identical to the Borushiki we saw against Boro. Now, mainly because of this, I say the Boruto manga is going to change drastically from chapter 53 onwards. Since chapter 52, many people have assumed that Borushiki is going to be the one to kill Isshiki or Sasuke, or hell, maybe he'll end up teaming with Isshiki. We're literally 1 week away from this Boruto chapter, so we're soon to find out. But if I'm gonna be honest, I think Momoshiki is going to pull a Kaguya, and for those who don't know, the Atsuki come in pairs to different planets in order to summon a divine tree so they can harvest a healthy chakra fruit. Isshiki and Kaguya were a pair, but Kaguya knew she would end up being the sacrifice for the divine tree, so she cuts Isshiki in half behind his back. That's what I mean by Momoshiki potentially pulling a Kaguya, since Isshiki barely has any life source left and is 99% most likely going to die in chapter 53. I think Isshiki is going to pull off giving the Karma Seal to Kawaki, but will indefinitely face his end for now through Borushiki. Based off of the 10-second time skip in the beginning, it's obvious Kawaki is going to get his seal back, so it's no question that Isshiki is going to place it on Kawaki. But Momoshiki, knowing that Isshiki is one of the high tier members, meaning he would have to be the sacrifice to the divine tree, will probably end up killing Isshiki to avoid this. Now, with the obvious out of the way, this is when things get good, and I think we are going to get a Sasuke versus Borushiki battle. And honestly, I have no idea how this is going to go, but I do think this battle will happen. Sasuke already referenced the fact that if Momoshiki were to appear through Boruto, he would kill him himself. And in the time skip, we know that Boruto will end up receiving a scar down his right eye sometime in the story. Sasuke also has a blade. So you guys know where I'm going with this, but yeah, I think this fight is most likely going to happen. As for Naruto, I might be the odd one out here, but I don't think Naruto is going to die, but I also don't think he's going to be the same. And what I mean by that is Naruto potentially never being able to fight again. Something like losing the ability to perform jutsus. I know it's a wild claim, as most do think Naruto is going to die, but honestly, I don't think so. In chapter 51, it was stated by Kuruma that if Naruto were to undergo the transformation, he would possibly die. In chapter 52, who was written by Kishimoto, it was stated that the more Naruto uses this transformation, the more his life source would drain. So it was clearly changed up for obvious reasons by Kishimoto for the intent to keep Naruto alive. At least for now, maybe. In chapter 1, Kodachi clearly had plans for Naruto to possibly die, as it was said by Boruto that in the beginning, for a short while, my father played a central role in my story too. And again, based off of the change in Boruto chapter 52, I don't think Kishimoto has plans for Naruto to die. But that does not mean Naruto will end up being his usual self. We could be looking at something like the Wizard King in Black Clover for those who watched, where, spoilers of course, he dies but ends up coming back at a young age, and because of that, he clearly is not able to fight. With Naruto, I think something similar to not being able to perform jutsus through low chakra reserves would be a fair call. Now back to chapter 53, I honestly don't know how this Borushiki and Sasuke fight is going to go down. Logically speaking, this should be a super easy clap for Sasuke. We're talking about a Momoshiki that's combined himself with a Genin when Sasuke was out here fighting Kinshiki with one arm and a Sharingan alone. I do think chapter 53 or 54, depending, will be when Boruto gets the scar. However, logically speaking, I just don't see how Sasuke loses to Borushiki. Unless Kishimoto hits him with I've been damaged too much by Isshiki, or I've used too much chakra, I need to save up for a portal. Some BS like that. But I do think Kishimoto will handle it just fine, and if Sasuke does end up fighting Borushiki, let's just say Borushiki for some reason, even though Sasuke is right beside him, does not attack him, and we have a little dialogue between Isshiki and Momoshiki, then he kills him and passes out. I can honestly see something like that happening, but I just think this was clearly set up for a Sasuke versus Borushiki fight where Boruto Boruto finally ends up receiving a scar down his eye. Now to recap, with Naruto losing the ability to control and use his chakra, Kawaki receiving the karma seal through Isshiki, Boruto killing Isshiki and possibly end up killing Sasuke, and receiving the scar. This would 100% change the Boruto story forever. The guilt Boruto would have to hold would be unbearable. Remember in chapter 50, he said that his fear was turning and just going on a killing spree, murdering innocent people. So imagine him killing his sensei while having the scar on his eye. In a way, it's kind of symbolic to Kakashi's story with the Sharingan. Kakashi losing his Sharingan in the war was supposed to imply him finally letting go of the past burdens he held for so long. After finally making up with Obito, meeting his father shortly in the afterlife, meeting his sensei in the ninja war. That was the conclusion to Kakashi's story, and when they finally defeated Kaguya, he was more at peace. So in a way, this kind of applies to Boruto. That scar will be a mark that will remind him of his sensei. He can never forget it. Kodachi himself said the Boruto manga was going to get dark. What better way to start it off than killing his sensei unintentionally? Naruto may be growing depressed because he was unable to stop this from happening because of the strain Baryon did to him, and now he's just unable to fight as a ninja. He feels useless. Imagine how Sarada would take all this. Sakura, Hinata, Himawari, Boruto's friends. What would happen with Kawaki? We know he ends up attacking the Hidden Leaf Village. Is it through Isshiki? Does he leave the village or get kidnapped by a mysterious group? So many questions, and of course, it's too early to answer them. But I think this could be one way the manga could go as a first step into the darkness. Boruto, a prodigy spoiled like kid who had it all, will in time lose everything he cares for. The exact opposite of Naruto's story. But that's all for today, everyone, and if you enjoyed this discussion video and would like to see more, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. This has been your boy Chosen, and I'll catch you on the next one.